Greetings. In this video, we're going to take a short look at vibrato. I want to preface this by saying that vibrato is an enormous topic. It's not the simple idea that's often presented that when we're playing short notes, we don't vibrato, and then we get to a long note and we vibrato. All right, it's not just for long notes. It's really something that's integrated into movement in general. And here's an example of that. I'm going to have you go ahead and try playing A on the first string. And now what I want you to do is keep your hands still and then just try reaching as though you're going to grab string 6 or string 5. And here you already have pitch modulation. It's a little subtle, but if you listen for it, it's there. And this is part of the reality of playing the guitar, is when we have any movement, even any movement of a finger, not just our wrist or our arm, it's going to cause pitch modulation. We don't want to approach guitar thinking that I play this pitch, and then this pitch, and then this pitch, and it should be flat. That creates a very inorganic and mechanical and ultimately unpleasant sound. Let's go ahead and try this. We're going to do 5, 6, 7, 8, and I want you to just think, now just engage the next finger by itself, next finger by itself, next finger by itself. And the pitch should have a sense of 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I'd like you to do is just allow yourself to have a graceful wrist movement or arm movement that supports that movement. And what you hear is that the note will sort of glide into that midpoint and then scoop up into the next note. So there's a little bit of in between on those notes. And once you're comfortable with that, it should be something that feels good and easy. If it feels difficult, then you're actually overdoing it. Vibrato is something that should always facilitate and help your movement. If it's actually causing problems, then I would say your approach to it is probably flawed. So now we compare the two. Here's flat. And here's with a little bit of graceful movement. It's pretty subtle. It's going to be difficult to see at this distance. You can exaggerate it and maybe do it for each one. And as you can hear, that one sounds just way too much. And it also feels like way too much. We could also add a little vibrato to each one. And this is a good opportunity to explore another way of thinking about vibrato. When we do a vibrato, our neutral point, our balance point right on the center, where I'm going straight out from the fretboard. If here's the fretboard, my finger has this straight angle, right? And then we can lean in either direction. So at this midpoint, I would consider this sort of a relaxed point. And then if I lean either way, I'm reaching these charged points where there's more tension. So I have less tension, more, less, more, less, more, less, more, less, more. And it kind of flows through this interesting sensation. Now, when you're charged, you have sort of potential energy. It's sort of like drawing back a slingshot. If you've ever done that, you pull back and it builds a lot of potential energy, and then you can release and it shoots. It sends that energy the opposite direction. So here, if I lean away from fret 6, and then this energy that I built up is actually going to rock back toward fret 6. We often think that we need to get to the next place, so I need to lean toward it. However, going the opposite direction will actually facilitate that movement because it's getting the mass of your hand in a more dynamic mode. Instead of being static and then I have to force everything to the next position, it wants to go there because I've built a little bit of charge in the opposite direction. Which actually touches on a deeper element in technique where oftentimes the solution to our problem is the opposite of what you might think. This comes up far more often than you would suspect. So try to have an open mind, and it's part of the creativity of great masters of guitar is they're able to think outside the box and find the weird solutions that you wouldn't naturally be drawn to. That being said, let's try rocking away a little bit onto the next finger. Away and on. And that should feel very easy and natural. And if you're having difficulty with that, then you're probably either overdoing it or just getting a feel for this type of movement. And it is important to start with just a single vibrato by itself. One finger, trying to feel, okay, how do I do this? How do I make this feel comfortable? And with the next finger, you're gonna find that certain situations, the wrist makes more sense. In certain situations, maybe moving the arm makes more sense. Here I'm doing a lot of arm. Here I'm doing a lot more wrist. Pinky, I can really lean toward the pinky pretty easily. Index finger here, I might do just arm. So it's not a one size fits all. It's not terribly simple. It's something that you really want your ear to be your guide, and you also want it to feel good and flow. But we start with one finger at a time, and then once that's comfortable, we learn how do we connect these comfortably. And as I said earlier, it should always facilitate your movement. It should always be helpful. We're going to explore that in future lessons, but I would encourage you to wrestle with these concepts that I've shared with you already. Thank you very much for watching, and let's continue in the next video.